you fail forward. You're because of our flesh, because of our will, because of our wanting to be in control, we're inevitably going to fail at some point. So instead of letting that knock you completely off track or completely out of whatever it is you're doing, just take that failure and learn from it. Go back to where you remember the last place you were with him and get back on track with him,
Yeah,
you know?
it's so true. I
Yeah.
think
Hi, sweet friends. Have you ever felt like your soul is just tired, like you're running on empty and your faith feels distant? We have been there too. We're two friends, moms, and women walking through the beautiful mess of real life.
This right here is a space where you breathe again, where you rediscover God's peace, His purpose, and the kind of beauty that only comes from a heart revived fully in Him.
Join us every Tuesday as we invite you to slow down, exhale, and lean into a biblical, heart centered revival.
Through authentic, raw stories of faith, conversations, and practical encouragement, you'll learn how to overcome trials, find rest for your soul, and build a daily rhythm of worship, even in the chaos.
Revival doesn't start in a church service, ladies, it starts in our heart.
Well, welcome back to another episode. If you guys are new around here, or maybe you are a weekly listener, either way, we are so grateful and thankful you guys are here. Something we do on the podcast every week is we read a passage or a verse or something that just sticks out to us that relates to the conversation that we're going to be having. And so this week, we are reading from Proverbs 31 again. Proverbs 31 is all about us women and kind of what our roles look like in the kingdom and here on earth. And there was one specific verse in Proverbs 31. It's verse 16, but really from 16 to verse 31 is it's just a really beautiful example and picture that God paints of how we as women should carry ourselves and what our tasks are and how to represent him and our family and support that and so if you have a chance this week, we really encourage you to open up your Bible as usual, but really hone in on Proverbs 31 and sit with that and marinate in it, pray over it, and then we'll dive in
Yeah.
and get going. So
Yeah.
Proverbs 31 verse 16 specifically reads, "She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands she plants a vineyard." And we honed in on this verse specifically. We're both entrepreneurs. We have our own businesses, ventures that we have built. You've built yourself up in the corporate ladder, since left. You now have your own adventure. I'm excited for you to share a little more about. And if you haven't listened to the episode where Catherine shared her story, she touches on it in that, episode 6?
Episode 6, yes.
So head back there and give that a listen. But yeah, we both have kind of our own ventures and businesses that we're running. And I know we've had conversations where we've spoken of just like, what's that look like for us as women, for us as moms and wives? Like, is it okay for us to be working? How does that look if we're working? And how should we do this? And, it just goes back to what we feel God has put on our hearts, what we feel like He's tugging on and praying over every decision. You've told me, like, I don't say yes to anything unless I've prayed over it and sought out what I feel God is saying to me. And that's so true in this business. I think for me, especially this last year, I've been so confused. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, Lord? Because I took a huge step back from my business that I've spent the last 8 years. So my oldest daughter's basically her whole life. I've been building this online platform. In this last year, I just kind of, looking back, I can tell that that was God saying, you need a break and you do need to step back. I still, showed up here and there, but it was nothing compared to what I was. And I've spent really the last year being like, am I supposed to be even doing this? Is it wrong that I'm
Yeah.
working, that I'm pursuing passions? Like I've got 4 kids. I should be focusing on that, and I've wrestled with that for a year now. And we both kind of agreed after reading this verse. It's like she sees an opportunity
Yep.
and she takes a hold of it. Like
Mhm.
I do really feel strongly, and I know you do too, that God plants desires in our life. And
Mhm.
it is up to us to pursue that and work hard at it, use wisdom and discernment
Yeah.
in it. But I feel like God does give us desires
Yeah.
to work towards.
Mhm.
And, I haven't always done it perfectly as a mom. I've definitely been guilty of the scroll hole
Oh, yeah.
and just getting on my phone to work, but I just end up scrolling and watching other people's lives and
Yeah.
getting so lost in that. And I've had to really work through a lot of that of just what am I passionate about? What do I want to be doing during this season? It's such a precious season in my kids' lives. I homeschool, so it's like how do I homeschool, build a business, manage a home, be the wife that the Bible calls me to
Yeah.
be? How do we do this all?
Yeah.
And guess what? We can't do it on our own.
With him.
Just like we mention in every episode, like we cannot do this
Yeah.
on our own.
Not at all on our own. I just love the Proverbs 31. Like Kimber said, go back and read it. I know that a lot of women read this and feel very overwhelmed. They feel
Yes.
like it's unattainable, unachievable. And sometimes I've had women and have been told that it makes people just feel like there's this person who God says we are to be that is unattainable. And I read this and I'm like, man, God created us to be these beautiful, strong, smart women who are able to raise families, who are able to show up well, and who are able to contribute in ways that are unconventional, that the world tells us to show up. And so I read this and I'm like, it's not we're never going to reach that perfection stage. That's not attainable on this side of eternity. But who God says we are in this is like, it's so beautiful. And I come from a place of I went to school, I started in corporate America, I worked in corporate finance and worked my way up the ladder. I went on a path of what I thought what the world told me I should do. I had no idea that I could create this life with God. I had no idea that I could take these desires that were within my heart and these dreams and turn them into something that I get to do every day. I was checking off boxes of, tenured in a position, a huge salary, benefits, retirement, investments, all of these things that I thought were success. I thought that those things meant that I was successful. And yet I was leaving my family for 50 plus hours a week. Um, Not counting drive time, like that was like working hours. I was not home when my kids got on the bus for school. They got themselves ready in the morning. I wasn't home when they got home from school. Um, it that I thought that that's what I wanted. I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. And in this journey and in this place with God, He has really shown me that, like, she evaluates a field and buys it. Like, he places these dreams. I can picture her sitting there with God by her side and seeing that He is giving her this so that she can provide for her family. He's giving her this because she's passionate about it and
Mhm.
she can do this. She can work this. She can use this and find joy in this while helping contribute to her family. And that's what I believe this life is about, is finding your purpose, finding your calling. He created each of us individually for a reason, for a purpose. And I'm not saying that having a career is wrong. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that what your choices are. I worked it for 20 plus years. I'm just saying that he's done such a work in my heart now that finding this field is more important to me than punching a time card
Yeah.
and doing that.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well, and in my study Bible, in the notes here for that verse specifically, it says, "She is not confined to the home, but is engaged in business." This
Mm.
verse demonstrates remarkable financial independence for a woman in the ancient world. She herself considers a field, indicating wise judgment, and buys it, indicating control of a substantial amount of money. And to me, it's just, I feel like that really explains what you and I have done. Like
Mhm.
we felt like God was calling us to something. We've evaluated it carefully.
Mhm.
I mean, for me, especially throughout like different periods of
Yeah.
doing this now over
Mhm.
8 years, going back and forth with it. And I have come to the conclusion like it's okay to have those desires
Yeah.
to want to make a difference and
Mhm.
build a business. And it's not okay when it becomes like to the degree of I have no life outside of this, my
Mhm.
family's suffering, my marriage is
Yeah.
suffering. Like, pause, reevaluate the situation, and
Mhm.
go from there. But
Mhm.
I think God, he gives us unique gifts,
Mhm.
and it's up to us to use those
Mhm.
again to bring honor and glory to him. And so if you've been toying with that of like, what business do I even do? Like, what would that look like? Like, lay out your priorities. I would
Mhm.
say have the pros and the cons. For me too, like, what is something that comes really easily to you
Mhm.
but is hard for someone else?
Yeah.
That would be a passion worth probably pursuing.
Mhm.
Like for me, it does come easy to just do my hair and curl it or braid it. For other people, that's not that easy.
Other people just put a hat on.
Yes, or but which by the way,
I
can you
know.
guys,
Can you
if you're
say
on YouTube,
what's
you
up?
can see our cute little matching hats. I couldn't help
Mhm.
myself when
Yes,
we got
she's
our
so
little
sweet. She gifted
revival
this to me, and I
hats.
was like, "Oh my goodness, we have to wear them
We
today."
have to. They're perfect.
Yes. Mhm.
Gosh, where was I going with that? We had to
I'll
give a shout out to the
makeup,
hats.
yeah, we had to do a shout out to the hats. She did my makeup. She does my makeup in, like, less than 5 minutes. There's no way that and so it's what comes easily to her does not come easily to me. What is comfortable for her is not comfortable for me, and so how about we share those gifts? How about we lock arms with one another and say, well, let me show you.
Yeah,
Let me teach you how to do it.
yeah,
It's a
and
gift that you can pass along to somebody else.
yeah, and if you don't utilize those gifts that God has given you, you won't be able to bless others.
Mhm.
And so through what I'm able to do, through the beauty industry world,
Yeah.
which I always felt was so insignificant, I'm like, no, this is like a vanity thing. I don't want to
Yeah.
be in this realm, but I am able to bless a lot of people through doing their makeup and showing them the beauty that's already there. They were
Mhm.
just trying to cover it up with too much
Yeah.
makeup. Like, no,
Mhm.
take that off, girl.
Yeah.
Like, you've got beauty that God has
Yeah.
blessed you with. And it's
Mhm.
really cool. Like, every time I do an in person makeup application, it just like relights my flame all over again.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded of the real reason why I do what I
Yeah.
do.
Mhm.
Um, and it's fun, and I'm able to do it out of our house. um, from the time I went to hair school, that's where I started out. And at the time, I wasn't necessarily like, this is a job that I could do while having kids.
Mhm.
But as soon as I got into the real salon world and stuff, I'm like, wait, I could have a salon out of my house and still be around my kids.
Mhm.
And it just kind of evolved from there where it was like ran the hair studio for a few years and then we got pregnant with my third and I'm like I cannot do 10 hours a day on my
Yeah.
feet while pregnant again. So shout out to hairstylists who are pregnant
Yeah.
on their feet for hours a day. I just was like something's got to give and that's when I transitioned into starting to build
Yeah.
online stuff. And when you're first starting out in those businesses like I didn't know what that was gonna turn
Yeah.
into. I didn't realize I was gonna be making more than my husband at one point,
Yeah.
it's things look different now as
Yeah.
I've tapered back. Um, but you just never know until you give it a chance and see what God can do with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart to always be asking him, am I working in your will?
Yeah.
Am I doing what I should
Yeah.
be? And I haven't done that
Yeah.
throughout this period. And I think that's why this last year has been kind of sacred for me because
Mhm.
I really, for the first time, just really sat with like, is this what I should be doing still?
Yeah.
And if it is, I want it to look differently.
Mhm.
I I am drowning in trying to build a business on my phone, which the world sells to you.
Yeah.
You can run your business from your phone.
Yeah.
Well, it's not as glamorous as it sounds. It's
No.
actually really detrimental if you let
Yeah.
it take
It's
hold of you.
draining.
Like, then it's like you can literally work wherever. You can literally work wherever.
Yeah.
Well, crap, I can literally work wherever, and now it's taking over my life. That's
Yeah.
kind of where it
Yeah.
transitioned, and it got really
Mhm.
dark for me.
Yeah.
To where I was like resenting what I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with what I was doing. It wasn't feeling fulfilling. I was, doing the bare minimum to homeschool my kids so that I could just get back to videos and, messages and showing my life and like doing all the things that these experts tell you should do. And like I got so caught up in that. And then it's just like God was like, we're going to put this at a halt. He has somehow managed to sustain us for a whole year of basically stepping away.
Yeah.
Um, and it really has given me a chance to be like, I do still want to do this and I'm really passionate about it, but I'm going to do it differently.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I don't quite fully know what that looks like,
Yeah.
but already I feel like a weight has been lifted of I don't have to feel guilty for having a job and for building
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of great examples that can give to my kids, and thank goodness they have had the grace that they have had through mommy kind of figuring it out
Mhm.
over 8 years, 9 years, however long
Yeah.
it's been. Um, in that I feel like I am in a place where it's like the clarity has come of it's okay for us as women to work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I
So
think so. And I think that's beautiful that your kids get to see that over the course of 8 years. How many times do we start something and stop? How many
yeah,
times do we start something, find ourselves discouraged, distracted, and we just stop doing it instead of figuring out how to work through it? But your kids get to see this passionate mom who has endured through a lot, who's persistent, who's sticking with it, and who's navigating this path with God, who's navigating this, taking a step back, feeling like things are uneasy or you're we talk a lot too, I think about like this feeling, this connection with the Lord. So when you're connected to him, it's like the discernment that you have or the conviction that you have when things aren't going right or when maybe you're taking it in the wrong direction and that's not the direction that God wanted. Like so it's pull back to the space where you remember being with God,
yeah,
you know, and regroup, pray, and start on a new path, on a different path that He's leading you on in the same field, in the same area.
yeah,
Because I think we do that. I think we get off track, whether it's we start to get successful. Success happens faster than we expected it to happen. Trials happen that we weren't foreseeing. And so then, but we just continue on. Like we just are like, we're going to just trudge ahead, we're gonna keep going. And then before we know it, we're like out in the middle of nowhere. And we're like, where are you, God? I know that this was a yes from you. I know that this is, that we were in partnership in this journey together, but I lost you somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
Because the noise, like everything comes in and starts to happen, and you get overwhelmed and you are stuck in busyness and scrolling and all the things. And so then I love how you speak. I mean, when we talked at retreat last year, it was like sometimes you have to stop and pull back and remember, like, go back to the last place you remember being with God, or go back to the last place you remember the clear yes from Him, and start like a new path.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Go back to your why. Why
Yeah.
did you even start
Yeah.
this? I mean, I've done that so many
Yeah.
times.
And I think so many women get discouraged because you start knowing for certain this is from Him, that you are together in this. And our flesh takes over and our control takes over, and we end up in this space that we don't recognize. And a lot of times that's when women stop because they're like, oh, this must not have been from Him, or this wasn't for me, or this, it's like, no, just, it's okay to fail. It's
Hmm.
okay to get to a point where you're not successful. I don't know
Yeah.
how to put it.
No,
I
yeah.
hate using the word fail. I hate any word that is like not good. But it's true. Like, you fail forward. You're because of our flesh, because of our will, because of our wanting to be in control, we're inevitably going to fail at some point. So instead of letting that knock you completely off track or completely out of whatever it is you're doing, just take that failure and learn from it. Go back to where you remember the last place you were with Him and get back on track with Him,
Yeah.
you know?
It's so true. I
Yeah.
think especially in my line of work that
Yeah.
I do, it is it is a long road
Yeah.
till you actually see the fruits of your efforts, and so many give up right before. I actually shared a story like 5 years into doing this business, I was asked to speak on stage
Mhm.
for this company, and it was like, I made it. I finally am that person, like,
Mhm.
and I remember coming off of the stage feeling completely empty because you're just like, this moment I've been building up to forever, and now it's like, now what? You
Yeah.
know? But one of the stories I shared, that's probably a whole other subject, but one of the stories that I shared while I was on stage was actually when we were building our old house, we ended up choosing to do a well instead of just like a water tap. And if you don't know much about wells, when you drill for a well, you have to pay regardless if they find water or not. So you are literally gambling your
Yeah.
money. And they have ways to say like, yeah, we can guess based on these other wells in your area, what depth we'd be probably till we hit water. And they estimated us like 50 to 100 feet
Mhm.
until we get water. And at 800 feet, we still had not hit any water yet. And we're at like $60,000 at this point worth of drilling piping that they had done. It was the day before Thanksgiving. And we were just like, what do we do? Because now we have to pay them 60 grand and we have no water and are probably going to have to pay another 60 to get a water tap. Like, we don't have that kind of money. And we just started praying. And the guy was like, I have one more pipe I can throw down. And he's like, I think he felt bad because he was like,
Yeah.
here we said like 50 to 100 or
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe we were at 850 feet. We were somewhere in that range. And he threw down one more pipe, and he called and he's like, it's like a waterfall. We hit water. There was so much water coming out. And I tell that story because, like, at 850 feet, we were ready to throw in the towel. We didn't realize we were right above water.
Yeah.
We were right
Yeah.
there.
I
And
love
it's like
that.
so many times in business, you're right there,
Yeah.
but so many give up because they're just like, I've been going at it and at
Yeah.
it and at it, and I'm
Yeah.
not seeing anything. Nothing's
Yeah.
happening. And it's like, if you can just keep going, you might be sitting right above what God had planned the whole
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and
Promise is right on the other side.
it's right there. You just
Yeah.
never know when you're sitting right above the
Mhm.
water. And so, like, even with what you're doing, like, you
Yeah.
just fully jumped in, all faith, God lead the way. And you're still kind of in it where you're just
Yeah.
like, we're figuring it out as we go. But I think it's very evident that you are living in your purpose.
Yeah.
You are living in what God has called you to,
Mhm.
and the trust that you have where you're just like, he's going to take care of us.
He
He's bringing
is.
people into our lives who are
Mhm.
fulfilling these needs,
Yeah.
and he's opening up these doors.
Yeah.
And it's been
Mhm.
really beautiful to
Yeah.
hear your story
Yeah.
on that.
It is. It's hard. I think because when we go into something and when we're called to something, there's all that excitement behind it, right? You're like, you're connected to God. You're like, yes, I'm saying yes to this. Um, Doors open. And then you get into the thick of it. You get into this space of good things take time. Good things don't just happen. Whatever that quote is out there, it's true. Um, I think God wants to see our obedience. He wants to see the discipline in us showing up every day, the trust in Him, the faith in Him, that He is our sole provider. He is the authority over our lives. And if we are going to join Him in something, we have to have faith and trust in Him that no matter what the numbers show on your budget sheet, on your home finances, on your business finances, that he can come in and he can fulfill those numbers and it doesn't make any sense. Like my numbers from what's going out to what's coming in do not match at all. At all. And yet he has met our needs on a month to month basis. And so for me, I am such a planner. I've always been a planner. I don't know if it's part of my organizational insides. It's part of finance, of planning out a whole year. I had to learn to really back that up to, okay, what do we need this week? You know? And it's been humbling and it's been beautiful and it's been scary and it's been all of the emotions all in one, because I can have this connection with God, but the people in my family might not be as connected. And so I have to have this faith that no matter what, my eyes are on Him and I trust Him through it all. And then my family gets to experience the moments where He's coming through and He's providing, and it's only Him. And so yeah, it's hard. It's hard work, but it's such good work and it's intentional work and it's meaningful work
Yeah.
to be partnered with Him in a way that I get to help other women. We get to provide for other women. We get to help women get sober. We get to help walk with them to to gain and maintain this long-term sobriety, and we get to point them to Jesus. We get to show them who He is through our obedience and actions, and He's really working through that. And so the moments that I start to feel heavy and like the numbers aren't adding up and the finances are all in a mess, in the where you're questioning, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to be Is it supposed to be this hard? Is it supposed to be this heavy? Is it supposed to be like I'm not being responsible? Am I supposed to be this, like, you feel irresponsible in a way?
Yeah.
And in those moments, he just comes in and he just provides the peace that I need, and the feeling of I'm with you still. I'm with you. Keep going. Keep showing up. Keep waking up. Continue to be faithful. And I am here. I am right here with you, and in every time, in that moment of need, he has come through.
Mhm.
And so I've learned a lot going from the corporate world to a God-centered world, corporate world to a nonprofit world, corporate world to having full trust. When you work for corporate America, when you work for another company, you're working for another person's values. You're working for another person's success.
Mm.
You're working for another person. So you don't have very much say in that. You don't have very much give in the time in the negotiation of how much you're getting paid, or how, you have a little bit, but you're still working for someone else. And so going from somebody else's goals, somebody else's timeline, somebody else's strategic plan, um, to be able to go to God's has really been, it has stripped me beyond anything I've ever been stripped before. Like, it has it has stretched me. It has grown my faith in just miraculous ways. It has shown me who he is. It has grown my faith and my trust in him beyond what I can even comprehend. And so I know that I'm on the right path, no matter how hard it is, because life's hard
Yeah.
and we were made to work. We were made to show up and do the dang thing no matter what,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm that, your story of the well is going to stick with me forever because it's so true. Like, we quit, we give up when we're right there. He's not going to show you that it's right there, because your obedience and your discipline, they take you they get you there. He doesn't show you the end game, because then why would we need him along the way?
Right.
He doesn't show you that, because then we have nothing to continue to be excited about
Yeah.
or to work towards. And every failure, every hardship has grown me in a way that I would have never grown before. And so I'm like so grateful and so thankful for the failures, for the hardship, for the dark times of, like, on my knee. I wouldn't have been on my knees all year if it
Yeah.
weren't for this, if it weren't for leaving and stepping out into a leap of faith. I have been on my knees more this past year than I ever thought possible. And I'm like, that I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for getting through it.
Yeah. God uses the hard times in our lives to bring us back to him
Mhm.
in a lot of situations. I personally believe that if life was easy, we wouldn't feel like we needed him,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And in what you're doing, you are seeking him through and through in every decision, and therefore you know when things happening.
yeah,
That is straight from the Lord, and that you're seeking him throughout all the decisions, through the dark, not
mhm,
knowing what's going to happen,
yeah,
what's going to be brought to you, how you're going to, be able to do XYZ. But that's where our faith comes
yeah,
in,
mhm,
because faith is believing when you can't see,
yeah,
and just trusting that God brought me to it, he's going to bring me through
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I'm with you, or the kids, our kids are 16 to 21. And like you talked about your kids giving grace, it's amazing the grace that our children give us. We canceled a vacation this January, um, postponed it. We postponed it, um, because we just couldn't make it happen without putting everything on credit. We're not about to get into a hole. Um, and what kept me from making that decision, I knew mid-year that it was going to be tough. Like if we were going to do it, it was going to be tough. And we had a family. That another thing is when you start something like this, or when you start a business, you need to be involving your family in it. God does not want you just making choices for your family that are going to change the trajectory of your family's lives too. So we had a family meeting before I retired, and like, this is what I'm feeling called to do. My kids know my story. My kids know my heart. It's exciting for everybody in the beginning. Nobody really understands how hard it's going to be, and the things that we need to give up along the way, and the way that things are going to shift in order to align our hearts and our budget and everything with God. So I knew about mid-year that it was going to be, if I didn't get a part-time job, that it was going to be really tough to manage this vacation. And what kept me from bringing it up at a family meeting was not wanting to disappoint my kids.
Mm.
It's something that we planned together, and we're looking forward to doing together. And like, as a mom, letting your kids down is really, it hurts your heart. Like,
Yeah.
it hurts your heart. Um, and their response to it was not let down. I'm sure that they're sad. I'm sure that it was a tug, but they were all like, "Okay, we know that it's gonna happen. We know the good work that you're doing." Um, and so don't let moments like that pull you out of your calling either. Don't allow it's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to make some tough decisions that, when I look back on it now, I get to show my kids that it's not about vacations and all the presents under the tree and having money for all of these things. It's really about, how are we being generous with what we have?
Mm.
How are we being able to provide for ourselves, but also we're providing lives for other women that, you know, that's that's where God is.
Well, it's really cool is it's a family effort
Yeah.
doing what you're doing.
Mhm.
It's a sacrifice on everybody's,
Yeah.
you
And you
know.
don't realize that. You really don't. You don't realize that in the beginning, until you start to go through it and you start to see, oh, it is hard. Oh, this is affecting everybody. And so we can't let that, I think a lot of times people will pull out of what they're doing because they don't want to disappoint their kids. They'll put their kids above God. They'll put a vacation above God. They'll put all of these things above Him. And so it needs to, like, the shift, it needs to stay. God is above everything.
Mhm.
And He will take care of my kids' hearts. He will show my kids the true meaning of all of this. It might not be in the moment. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But eventually, like, we keep Him first, and we are obedient to Him before we are obedient to our kids.
Mm.
And so
I
it's
love
like I'm
that.
learning a lot in it too.
I love that. God will
Mhm.
take care of my kids'
Yeah,
hearts.
He will.
We don't need to carry that as
No.
moms. He's
Mm-mm.
got it.
Mhm.
Again, just take the pressure off of you.
Mhm. Yeah.
When you're seeking God and what His will is for you,
Yeah.
like that really does take off a huge part of the stress.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Mhm.
when you do feel like you're fully living in that purpose,
Mhm.
He's gonna take care of
Yeah.
you.
And He'll equip you along the way.
Mm-hmm.
He will equip you along the way. You don't need an education. You don't, it, maybe you do for some things, I don't know, but typically if He's calling you to something, like this, like nonprofit work or entrepreneurial work, it's not about the degree. It's not about the resources, the finances. Satan is going to try and use every excuse to keep you from it. Like, you don't know what you're doing. I know I don't know what I'm doing, but God knows what he's doing, and he knows me, and he knows where I'm going to jack it up, and he knows where I'm going to, take the baton and go with it.
Yeah.
And so you trust in that and you believe in that, and he's going to give you everything you need. He's going to bring in resources. He's going to bring people to your platform. He is going to be your provider when we release control of trying to provide it all ourselves.
I
Mhm.
mean, if we build it, he'll make the people come.
Oh, yes.
What's that saying? If you
So
build it,
good.
they will come.
If you build it, they will come. If it is of him, nothing can get in the way. Things are going to try and get in the way, and it's going to seem like failure, or it's going to seem like not right. But no, you keep going, you keep showing up, you keep working through it. If it doesn't feel right, stop, take a step back, reevaluate, rejoin with God, because we do. Sometimes it's like when things are going really good, that is when we become the most disconnected, I think, from him for most
Oh, yeah.
people, because it's
Absolutely.
like it's good. And then you get to the place where it's not good again. And you're like, where am I? And so that's why, like, the daily time in the Word, whether life is good, whether life is bad, whether you're on the mountaintop, whether you're in the valley, you need to be in His Word always. You can't just take off on your own. You can't grab the baton and run on your own, because it's a race. It's meant to be together. You're meant to be together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it back to you for a second, because you're talking about what, doing events and things. And so tell me some of the events that you have done that have connected you with God, that have been a God moment for you. I'm thinking of one, because didn't you do one of those dances? Did you do the hair and makeup for
Oh, for Shine?
Shine?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that always sticks out to me when we were talking earlier, when Kimber was talking earlier, just about the vanity piece of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit here and Kimber just shines. Like, you don't need any makeup, you don't need anything, you
Wow.
just shine. But it's not just about the vanity part, and so I just wanted to, like, that's an event that you have done that stuck out to me that I think is beautiful.
Yeah, I did. So Shine is a event put on by the Tim Tebow Foundation.
Mhm.
And it's prom for special needs.
Mhm.
So I got to be involved in that at our previous church. And that was incredible. When I was in high school, my parents had us volunteer at Special Olympics a few times.
Mhm.
And I have just always had a heart for special needs. Like, I can't go to something without crying.
Mhm.
And I do think that God placed that feeling in my heart and in my life for a reason. There's just something about it. They just have me, because they're special needs. They are so joyous. They're so happy. They're not worried about all the other stuff that
Mhm.
we're self-conscious about, or, overthinking. They're just like living life. And the most recent event that I did was for a nonprofit called Joy House.
Mhm.
And so I love their story. My friend Marla, I did her hair for years. And when we were building our house, I still needed to make income. And so I started going to my clients' houses and doing their hair. So it was like Kimber's Kitchen Cuts for a long time was my business. And I really got to know people, like my clients behind the chair that I get to see for just a few hours. I got to step into their lives and see more of them. And that was a blessing. And with Marla, her son Seth, he has Down syndrome, and I think he's in his 30s. And so they built him a house in their backyard, and it's called the Joy House, because
Mm.
if you know Seth, he's always smiling. He loves the Lord and his Broncos. Like, he's just He's the coolest guy, and they started Joy House, and now I mean, it's a whole nonprofit that they have, and so they have, this group of girls that I went and I got to do their makeup for them. They call them their besties is what they call their group, and, that event, like, really changed a lot for me because I got to see this is so much more than makeup. This is more than hair. Like, these girls, they were just a hoot, and we made it this such a special night. It was around Valentine's Day. And through my job, I had gotten a bunch of free makeup, and I was like, everybody, you get a palette, and you get a palette, and you get a palette. Like, it was so fun. And each of them, I just did their makeup that night. And some of the pictures that were captured it'll stick with. I want to frame them and put them in the office because they'll just it's those reminders of like, this is where God tells you, like, this is bigger than what you probably thought when you initially started this. And it does bring me back to my why every time. And again, it goes back to kind of what we talked about in the last week's episode of just community and like branching out beyond just teaching over the internet. Like, if and when time allows, which, as my kids get older and things, like, my time will open up more for that. But I do feel blessed that I have had opportunities to have those in-person connections that, who knows the impact it had on those girls, but I know the impact that they had on me. And it's just another reminder of what God's doing, because that opportunity, I don't even remember how it came about. Just kind of fell out of thin air, and
Yeah.
it was
Like
so
God
fun. It was
does.
a blizzard that night, and it was an hour drive, and I wrangled my mom into it. And her and I are like, it's just a whiteout, and I'm like white knuckling it. But I was like so excited to do this event. I'm like, we are not canceling on these girls. Like, it is happening, and God really showed up that night.
I just want to say, whether you're in a career or if you're really feeling called or pulled to start that thing or do that thing, really soak in it and do it. If God's calling you to it, He's going to provide what you need along the way, and it's going to be hard. We're not saying it's going to be easy. Good things are hard, and we want you to just be encouraged to do it. We came from totally different backgrounds. We've taken different leaps of faith in our journey, and we're still here. We're still standing. We're still waking up. We're still figuring it out. And ultimately, I think it's brought both of us closer to God than we ever could have imagined. So do it.
Amen.
Join our free Facebook community and follow along on all social media platforms to connect with other women seeking heart revival, spiritual renewal, and authentic faith.
And be sure to click the follow button on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode.
We can't wait to see you on the inside. Bye.
Bye.